everybody. It's Heidi Fang here, your Vacation podcast host, and I am part of the Fan Zone today, answering all your questions about the Raiders. What is up, Raider Nation? First of all, I see Anthony Provencio here. He's saying, Raider Nation, skull and bones. What's up? Nice to see you all joining in here and watching this feed with me. I'm happy to talk to y'all throughout this next probably 15, 20 minutes and get this thing going here. So I already have a few questions that have been on the minds here. Some of the people that follow me on Twitter, and I appreciate everybody always for submitting those. You can always find me on Twitter at Heidi Fang. So anytime you want to drop me a line, feel free to. And you can also reach me on my email too. I'm happy to give out any information that helps you connect. So it's hfang@reviewjournal.com. All right, so Unknown, he goes by the handle of at Weebay78. Gotta love the wire, by the way. Great name, Weebay. All right, so Foster Moreau being underutilized. Is he? I guess is what the question means. Is Foster Moreau being underutilized? So right now, it's a minimal amount of targets. It's not what we used to seeing compared to the previous season, obviously, and where he was a big red zone threat. We haven't really seen that much of Foster Moreau in those zones in that area. I think that there will be games where they game plan to have Foster Moreau get in there and where it makes much more sense for him to get into the red zone. But for right now, I think that with the O-line being the way it is in situations where he has come in, they might be using him as an extra body there on the line to help block. Foster Moreau, though, definitely somebody who's always a target in the red zone and somebody to look at there. So I think there will be games where he pops and that we'll see a little bit more of him. But right now, the LSU tight end being, I think, a little bit underutilized. I'd have to agree there compared to what we saw in the previous season and his rookie season. So second year, we'll see if we get more of Foster Moreau, maybe towards the second half here as we are getting into the 6-3 record with the Raiders, and they have the Chiefs coming up. That's going to be huge. All right, he's shined here and there for the team. Also, can the Raiders release more of those inaugural jerseys for fans that aren't local? Well, I think that they will probably come. I think that there's a high demand for those. So I would just keep checking the Raiders shop on Raiders.com. That might be the best way to get a hold of those and get your hands on one. So yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing I think everybody misses a little bit about having game day situations is you could probably walk into the Raider image on a game day, go pick up your gear, get everything that you need. And it's kind of cool, though, that the Raiders do have that store on site now at Allegiant. So it is open. You can go check it out maybe if you're ever in Vegas, but it looks like you are not local because it says for fans that aren't local. So hoping that we get you suited up the way you want to be. Thanks for the question, Weebay. All right, the next one comes from Severiano del Castillo Galvan, and he wants to know how many TDs against the Chiefs because KC is ranked 29th against the run. Oh, man, so Raiders have been feasting on the ground, as we know. Past 3 games, they've topped over 150 yards on the ground, and the rushing attack between Devontae Booker, and Josh Jacobs has been tremendous. Those two in the 1-2 punch that they're delivering is something defenders have not been able to stop right now. And I think it's a great old school smash mouth football that we've seen John Gruden putting together. So I'm going to say that right now, if you're going just on the rush, I'm going to go with 3 touchdowns. And I'm going to say through the air, I'm going to go with maybe 1-2 touchdowns through the air. I'm going to go with total 5 touchdowns on this game for the Raiders. Yep, every extra point hits that chalks it up to 35 total points. I think the last score here, Raiders-Chiefs, is pretty high, 40 points I remember, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, because I'm not looking at it. I'm just going to look at it. I could pull it up. I'm here on the interwebs. 40-32. So Raiders won that, obviously. I think it's going to be similar high-scoring affair because the Chiefs' defense is, like you said there, Sev, lots of holes. So I'm going to go here into, wow, lots of questions here, guys. Appreciate this. What up, Eric Tejerina? Hello from Raider Nation, San Jose! Sorry, I get excited whenever I see San Jose. That's my hometown, East Side. Nice to hear from you, Raider Daddy 007, 007. And then you see stadium tours. Okay, so the billboards right now, I have seen there's information on stadium tours that's from Raider More. So if you go onto the Raiders website, raiders.com, I'm pretty sure you're going to find a list there of available and open dates. Unfortunately, right now, the only other way that you could have gotten a tour was probably going to a UNLV game, but the UNLV games right now are being held back. They're not going to have fans, it looks like, coming up soon. That's something that's on the docket. So I don't know if you can get in there through those games anymore, but you're definitely going to be able to find some tours. They are starting to make those available. So go check it out on the Raiders website, raiders.com. All right, next one, we see Anthony Provencio. I heard some Chief players got COVID. Who are they and will they play? So, yeah, the Chiefs last week did have some tests that came back positive. I can't recall all of the names of who they were, but they're definitely going to play this game. It seems that more and more the NFL has found ways to keep track of who has been put into the COVID protocol. For instance, last week we saw two of the Raiders be put into that protocol, and then now they're coming back out. And like Trent Brown was on the COVID-19 list, but he was still in attendance at the game. So I would assume that was just because he's still experiencing some symptoms of it, or not symptoms, excuse me, but some lasting effects of it, perhaps, so that he hasn't come off of that list yet. But we're going to see if he is back at practice this week. I'm not sure what the ongoing situation is with Trent Brown, but I got off topic there. Your question was, I heard some Chief players got COVID. Who are they? Will they play? I would have to look that up, but I don't have it in front of me right now, so I'm sorry. I'll try to look it up here in a second, but I'll go on here to some other ones. What's up with Trent Miller and Incognito's recovery? So yeah, Trent, we haven't had a lot of information on. Just like I said, that he was still kind of experiencing some lasting effects of when he had COVID. So now perhaps we start seeing him back in practice. That would be a good sign if we did, but all of last week we did not see him in practice. So that's something to keep an eye on. Colton Miller, I think we'll start getting back. Obviously, Gruden last week at the end of the week on Friday said it was doubtful for Colton Miller. He's still trying to deal through his injury, and I have seen that he probably is working with the trainer right now, so that's a good sign that he could be coming back. So Colton Miller, more probable, I think, right now. With Trent, it's been a big question mark, and I think that's been frustrating a lot of people, probably including the coaching staff. Now, it's obviously when you pay a guy $66 million there to be on the tackle, you want to see him. And Sam Young, while he's been trying to do what he can to hold him tight on that position, Sam Young, you notice he goes out, like he went in through the opening drive, he goes out. He's been struggling with injuries of his own, groin, I believe. So it's something that you want to see that position solidified. But for what it's worth, all the patchwork on the offensive line that the Raiders have been putting together, it's been working out really well for them. They've been managing really well with the offensive line that they have put together, and that's huge, huge credit to Tom Cable. So, and the last one, Incognito, another one we haven't heard. Obviously, when you're over in football years, the hill as he is, he's older guard. Probably, I think he's heading in his 37th year in life. So when you have an Achilles problem, that's serious, because if you're guard, you're gonna have to put a lot of weight on your ankles, on your legs, and trying to block another 300-pound man coming at you, and your Achilles is messed up. Well, I think you're gonna have to probably see if he's just taking a longer time than others to recover because of his age. So, in football years, Richie Incognito is like 50. So, Richie Incognito, though, great player when he is in there. So another person, this is going to be big to see if these guys do get back on the offensive line. I'm sure y'all Raider fans really are hoping to get at least one of them back in there this coming week. Raider Moore even says they're getting healthy, though backups have stepped up big time. Yes, yes, yes. Who do you think should return kicks on kickoff return? Well, I mean, Hunter Renfrow has been doing a great job there. He's somebody that could be possible to fill in there. Henry Ruggs is another option, his speed. I think when you can put a guy like Henry Ruggs back there, if you're willing to put him in that position, because you might want to have him play more reps on offense, and getting Ruggs in there on the kickoff returns, I don't know if you kind of want to save him for playing in the regular offensive plays as opposed to on a kickoff return. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a guy like Henry Ruggs in there. The pass game is off track because pass blocking is suffering with injury. Um, you know, I think it's a little bit of that, but it's also, I think, a little bit of the play design, the play calling. We've seen a lot of runs being put together, the Gruden offense. Um, yeah, and I think he's utilizing Derek Carr really well against the defenses that they've been game planning for. So while you look at Derek Carr's stats as of late, you know, it's not what you would think you would see on a team that is winning. I mean, he's putting over maybe 150 yards per the last two games, but it's still he's doing an effective job in there. So yeah, I think you might want to see more on the passing game, especially getting Ruggs involved. You're getting Brian Edwards back. You're getting a lot of these people now that had been out earlier with injury back. So I think that's a good sign. Darren Waller, obviously, people are doubling in on him. So it's harder and harder for Darren Waller, even though he is still the top target for Derek Carr when you look at the stat box. But yeah, I think they're gonna have to start getting them more involved because as you get into this second half of the season, you're gonna want to diversify. I think what some of the teams have already seen in the earlier half. So I think we're gonna see the pass game get back on track here and definitely be more involved in the coming. But I don't think it has to do with the pass blocking and suffering injury. Well, yeah, suffering injuries, yes, but the pass blocking, they've been really effective, the offensive line. So I think these guys have done a good job to keep the pocket clean for Carr. And I think that getting Colton Miller back will be huge. That's the next question there. So sorry, guys, my audio's glitching. Trying to just got a note. Studio. Thanks, Nate. I'll try to keep it. I talk with my hands. All right, so Colton Miller gonna play. That's the big question. I'll be at practice on Wednesday. Hopefully, we'll see him in there. That I know that's what Raider fans want to see. You want to see Colton Miller back. I mean, it got to be hard for him too, missing a game. All those years that he's already played, hadn't missed one, and that's gonna be tough for him to have missed and want to come back probably. So he's one of those guys like. I'm sure if he could do the Allegheny Gold and just rub dirt on it, he probably would have. All right, so Renfro showed he was great at returns, robbed of a TD. Yes, yes, he was. Yeah, but I like how sneaky he is. The guy he just makes these cuts that the defenders that breaking ankles on. So that's why I liked when I said Renfro on the kickoff returns. I think that he'd be great in that position. What game is Trent Brown supposed to come back? Yeah, well, I think that we were all thinking that we would see Trent Brown back 2 weeks ago, and then he had landed back on the COVID list. So once you're back on that list, you have to go through all of the protocol and be able to get back. So now he should be back out of that protocol as of this coming week. So perhaps this week we see Trent Brown back at practice. That's a big question. I think that everybody, like I said, with Colton Miller, wants to see him back. So let's see. Yeah, Raider Moore says I signed up for info on the tours. They have done private tours. Yep. And the last I saw on those tours was that it was sold out through, I wanted to say February. So, but they still are booking. So keep checking back on that site and make sure that you get yourself signed up. Same formula, pound the rock. Yep. Random Moore, Edwards had a big catch. Great to see. How would you grade David Irving in his first game back on Sunday against the Broncos? I think David Irving, for what it's worth, when you see a guy that hasn't played since 2018 getting back in the mix the way he did, I think he did pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with David Irving, and I think that they are taking the right amount of steps to get him conditioned, to get him back, to not rush him back into the fold. But, I mean, he is a tremendous player. And I think that he did pretty well in what we did see out of him on Sunday. And I think that as you start to get him into more and more of the plays, that he's going to be outstanding for this team. Yeah, great presence that he had there in the few plays that he did play. The defensive synergy is really exciting. Hope it continues to improve. Yep, yeah, I can totally attest that you're starting to see a team that was criticized of the pass rush, a team that was criticized of not being able to penetrate and get any stops for losses, and they're finally starting to click. Jeff Heath was amazing last week with the 2 interceptions that he did have. You got to give credit to Nick Kwiatkowski being that Mike linebacker and just solidifying his role there as a leader on this defense. I mean, this team is really starting to click at all the right times. And a lot of the talk we've had lately, when you start talking about who's going to be in the wild card mix, well, this game coming up on Sunday Night Football, is just one of those ones where if they can beat the Chiefs again, we're not talking about AFC West wildcard spot for the Raiders. We're going to be talking about, are they going to claim the AFC West? So this team is on fire right now. Great stuff. All right. So third year straight playing the Chiefs after a bye. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing. That's another thing you have to consider is how much rest they've had, how much they've healed. You got a guy like Sammy Watkins that's been out for the Chiefs. He could be probably coming back, and he's one of those key targets that you see Mahomes have a good rapport with. So that's something you're going to want to keep an eye out for as this game comes together. Is he going to be in the mix? Because they have those guys like McCole Hardman and all, but when you start to see what somebody like Sammy Watkins does when he's healthy, he's a threat, and that's somebody that you have to keep an eye on. So yeah, that's crazy how the scheduling works out that way. I'm gonna answer a few more here, and then I'm gonna have to start wrapping things up because I'm gonna have an interview for you guys. Michelle Tafoya, talking to her, NBC Sports sideline reporter, a legendary female in the business, which brings me to Raider Daddy 007. Great job. I enjoy your style. Plus, looking good, repping San Jose, Raider Nation, and Latinas. Did you know this, man? All right, so appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. I work hard at this job. I really do. I put in the time. I'm here for you guys. I always try to be somebody that's approachable, that you can talk to, answer these questions. I love doing these Q&As and connecting with all the fans. So thanks for that. I appreciate it. Raider Moore, I agree, Raider Daddy. Defense feeding off good energy. Yeah, and then Arden Key played well. That's right. Arden Key did play well. Last I heard, when Trent Brown got put back, he was expected he'd be out in a month. It's not been a month. Okay. All right. So I think I hadn't heard anything about a month. So I'm thinking that perhaps we start seeing him come back into maybe limited practice sessions this coming week. I would think that's a possibility. I appreciate everybody here for all the questions, especially Raider Daddy 007, Brandon Warren, see Raider Moore, you guys, Anthony Provencio, Weebay, can't forget Weebay, Sev, as always. Thank you everybody so much for checking in with me. I'll be back here probably in about a month.